Hey guys, today we're continuing the beginner goalkeeper technique with some of the things that I like to drill into my goalkeepers. The first thing is when it comes to catching while you're diving or when you're moving. You always want to make sure you're pushing through the ball. You never want to stand in one place and catch the ball. You actually want to go through that catch, especially when you're diving. A lot of goalkeepers have trouble diving and catching the ball at the same time because when they catch the ball, they don't want to actually push the ball through and they try to hold it in that position. What you really want to do is stretch your whole body through, push your arms out, and actually put the ball down. If you don't do that, it's going to look a lot like this. Your hands are going to be really close to your face and you're not going to be able to control it. But if you see a full stretch, looks a lot nicer and you get more control over the ball. Especially if you can't catch the ball, you can actually tip it over for a corner kick. This is the whole idea. The full stretch is going to make sure that even if you can't control the ball, you're going to get it around the post. When you're starting out in goalkeeping as a beginner, you always want to make sure you're visualizing your practices. So I want to make sure you understand that you're pushing the ball forward. So imagine the soccer balls are in a straight line. You want to make sure that you're pushing those soccer balls all the way as far as you can so you don't stay on that line. You want to push it forward and always use two hands. You always want to get two hands on the soccer ball. You always want to dive with two hands. It's much better technique, although it is hard to do, and sometimes you will do one-handed saves. The main idea for this drill is to remember to push your body and to stretch your body out completely. You're pushing the ball to the farthest extent of your arms. You want to do a full body stretch. Next, to practice both sides and to practice your weak side, I make sure my keepers do the dive as slow as possible. You need to know what it looks like and how it feels around your whole body. You don't want to be making this dive really quickly. So I tell them to really slowly step into their dive, put their body over their knee, put your chest over your knee, go forward and push the ball forward while stretching your body out completely. If you look, I'm not landing and curled up. I'm completely stretched out. If you are curled up, it looks nasty and you're not going to be able to hold the soccer ball, let alone actually get a good save. To practice my weak side dive, I practice balancing on my weak foot. That's one of the main issues you're going to feel when you're actually stepping into your weak side dive. You feel like you're not getting a good platform to push off of. So I make sure that my keepers can be able to hold themselves up with one foot. If you can hold yourself up with one foot, you can definitely push off of that foot much better than if you were slippery stepping around with your weak foot. Our weak side dive is going to take a while to practice. You're not going to learn this right away and you're not going to be great at your weak side the next week. This is going to be something that you're going to work on your whole goalkeeping career. You can always get that better. So the next thing that I make sure that I talk to my goalkeepers about is receiving a ball in the air. High balls are extremely scary for beginner goalkeepers because we know that if you misjudge a ball and let the ball go over you or bobble the ball, it's most definitely going to end in a goal. So we have to see it and see these balls that we're going to catch in the most safe way. We need to always bring up our knee, and we need to always make sure that we're bringing up our knee to protect our body. By bringing up our knee to protect our body, I mean that if we're going to the right and we're diving upwards and there's someone coming at me from the left, I'm not lifting my right leg. I'm lifting my left leg to protect myself from the striker coming in at me. I'm always lifting the leg that's getting the most traffic to come through. Always use that leg not only as a momentum and inertia gainer, but actually something that is going to deter a striker from wanting to run into you. One time, you only need to run into strikers one time with your knee in the air with a good amount of power behind it to teach them a lesson and make them remember, I'm not going up against that keeper in the air. He knows how to protect his body and I'm not going to go through him. And the final thing for the high balls that I tell my goalkeepers is always make sure you're catching the ball at the highest point. You're not waiting for the ball to get to you. You're actually catching it at the highest point and your eyes are burning perfectly into the ball. Keep your eyes on the ball and catch it at the highest point and you'll get most of the high balls really well and really easily, and that is a sign of a great goalkeeper. And the final aspect I talk about goalkeeping with my beginners is positioning. Positioning is already starting to get into the more advanced tactics, so we start with a really simple where would you stand if the shot was coming drill. So I put my goal up and I set up my goalkeeper with a few cones. I put my soccer ball down and I tell them to walk over there and set yourself up or put the cone where you would go. This is where you would set up if you were in that position. I let all my goalkeepers choose their positions first, and then we go and we check it from the shooter's perspective, and when we come back we say, alright, this position would be better. Why? Because I can control and protect both sides of my corners. If I can reach both corners and have that soccer ball directly in between my legs going to the middle of the goal, then I am positioned correctly for me. So this is all about repetition. Goalkeeping in the end comes to understanding your technical points of soccer. You want to make sure that you always have the right angle. Great goalkeepers don't need to dive. They should have their angles down correctly, that the striker only sees the goalkeeper, or sees mostly the goalkeeper taking up the goal, and he feels that he needs to strike it through you or right under you. That is the sign of a good position. Make sure to try this out from all different angles and to double check how your saves would come. If you have rope, try to actually connect the rope to each of the cones and visualize exactly what the flight path would be of the soccer ball. But always remember that you're looking and trying to position yourself as safe as possible. If you need, practice your dive. Try to get to that position and see if you can actually make that dive and how easily you can make that dive. If it's a hard dive for you, then that might not be the best position for you, and you might want to actually cheat to a side and protect that side better. If you have a weaker left side dive, you might want to cheat to the left a little more, knowing that you could dive to the right easily. Hey guys, thank you so much for checking out the video on the beginner goalkeeper foundations. This is what I make sure my beginner goalkeepers start to understand right when they get into goalkeeping, and it's how we start a foundation to make a great goal. So if it helped you out and you did like it, please like the video and share it with your friends. If you have any questions for me, any suggestions, please leave me a comment. I love talking to you guys, and thank you so much for watching the video, guys, and I'll see you guys again very soon.